So we're here because after that recent discovery of that colossal squid that was all over the news here recently, I was seeing some of the comments and it's still a lot of people in disbelief. And I feel like, why? We've been screaming to the top of our lungs that there's some stuff out there in that deep blue sea, bro. Alien-like, or if you like me, believe aliens are in the ocean, amongst some other things, right? It's just crazy seeing people's comments and just mind blowing. I'm like, where y'all been? Where have y'all been? You know what I mean? Especially not, y'all could have been on this channel. So welcome. All right, welcome. We here to watch and look at some craziness. Let's check it out. Let's get to it.
Fish are kind of weird. I mean, have you ever properly looked at one? At the risk of sounding stones, they are very weird, and some are even weirder than the rest. Some are the closest thing on Earth to actual aliens. These are the 20 fish that you won't believe actually exist. Number 20. The Asian sheepshead wrasse. While we do know the phrase, there are plenty of fish in the sea, you often have a mental picture of what a fish should look like, and when you look at the Asian sheepshead wrasse, this isn't exactly it. It's not what you would picture, and it makes it so much more weird that people have caught it and even put it into a...
Like, if there was ever a fish that looks like it got a story to tell, it's this one. This one looked like it got something on its mind. Literally, it looked like it got something on its mind. It got a lot it want to tell us.
Aquariums for everyone to see. One can only imagine what they have to say about the fish when they come to its tank. And if you're wondering why you've never seen or likely heard about this fish, well, that would be because of its location. Native to the western Pacific Ocean, it inhabits rocky reef areas around the Korean Peninsula, China, Japan, and some islands. And if you're not in that range, you're not going to see it all that often. The irony here is that despite it not being that well known by some, it's one of the biggest of the wrasse family, measuring in at almost a meter in length. Plus, they're known to have quite the lifespan, with one confirmed case of an Asian sheepshead wrasse living over 30 years with a certain human diver being its caretaker. Yet, even more ironically, there's another twist in the sheepshead wrasse tale. Specifically, this is one of the more special animals in our world that has the ability to shift its gender on a whim. That's right, it's able to change its gender because it has both male and female reproductive organs. And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder than that, when an Asian sheepshead wrasse is born, they're always female. Which means that as they grow older, they gain the ability to transform into a male, and as you can imagine, that's not something you see every day.
That's crazy. Now we gotta ask fish what they identify as now. When we see stuff like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not asking a fish what it identifies as. I hope just this doesn't get out, because then it'll be some law passed that we gotta. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
When BBC Earth was able to find this creature and record it shifting from male to female, it was quite the spectacle and special moment for science. So what we have here is a large, weird fish that's able to change its gender, and we're only getting started with the list. Now it's time for the sweet topic. Now it's time to find out why Fisherman catches huge fish, but he turns pale when he found this inside. A group of fishermen were on the crawler doing their work when in the distance they spotted a thing in the yellow circle. Naturally, they freaked out. Could it have been a fish? Well, they caught it and brought it in, and as you can see in the image, they had found the fish to end all fish. A real beast of the sea. When they then cut it open, they were in for quite the shock. It didn't have the normal fleshy internal organs, it had mechanical props. Turns out it was an incredibly impressive and realistic movie prop that was accidentally lost at sea. They all felt fooled.
That is crazy though. The fact that they discard the movie props in the ocean and you come across something like this down there, yeah, I would freak out too. Especially if it's something you pull up and and you're trying to pull up fish that you've caught and stuff in a huge net that you've done, and you pull something like this up, this will freak you out right here, bro. Why are they even allowed to do that?
Foolish after that, I'm sure. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below using the hashtag #SweetTopic. Number 19. The sarcastic fringe head. It's almost poetic that we go from a potentially large fish with an equally large mouth to a small fish that likes to show off its big mouth. Meet the sarcastic fringe head, a fish that only gets to about 30 centimeters in length, but it loves to flex as though it's the biggest fish around. If you come into its territory at any point, it's going to rush at you, open up its great big mouth in an effort to intimidate you and move you and make you go back, and this fish has a serious attitude problem. They tend to inhabit objects and cavities like shells, burrows, and crevices, and are also found living in man-made objects like bottles and soda cans. Not that littering in the ocean is good, mind you. And when two of these fringe heads go head-to-head in combat, they literally ram their mouths against each other until one can bite the other's head. Number 18. The northern stargazer. There are many creatures that adapt to the ocean and its terrain in various ways so that it can survive, and the northern stargazer is one such example of that, as its body's shape and coloring are able to blend in with the sandy bottoms of the ocean. Then when its prey loom overhead, it can rush out and take a big bite out of it. It is one of the many ambush predators of the deep, and it's apparently very adept at doing just that. In addition to this type of hunting prowess, it also has a rather grumpy and menacing look on its face, which makes it a strange fish indeed. Number 17. The hagfish. If you're familiar with eels, you might know about the hagfish, as they are felt to be rather similar. In fact, many refer to the hagfish as having eel skin, though they don't have the electric organs that eels have. Instead, they have a rather sticky slime that they use to smother the predator and force them to go away, because that slime is inside of their gills. And as the old adage goes, if a man cannot breathe, the man cannot fight. These are unique because while they do have a skull in their heads, they have no vertebral column of any kind. They are the only living creature in the world that doesn't, further differentiating them from their eel counterparts. Number 16.
See, stuff like that make me think it absolutely came here via meteor or something like that. It came from another planet. That right there alone. You can't argue with me.
Fangtoothoth Fish. Have you ever met someone and could just tell by their look and demeanor that they were not the nicest of people? Well, with the fangtoothed fish, you get that vibe as well. This is a small fish that barely reaches 16 centimeters, and yet when you look at its head, not only is it much larger than the rest of the body, but it also has a big set of fangs that it uses to get its prey.
Look at that face.
Apparently it's a fangtooth.
Yep, it's a fangtooth.
That's honestly just a little bit sad that it focuses so much on that instead of anything else at all. In fact, according to the BBC, the fangtoothed fish have the largest teeth in the entire ocean compared to body size.
Doesn't it look like similar to a piranha a little bit? Like it could be a species of a piranha? It just gives that type of vibe. Maybe not. Maybe the piranha teeth are a lot stronger and sharper and smaller, but it just looks like that to me. Like it would be like an older version of that.
Number 15. Vampire squid. There are a lot of squids and octopuses that could be talked about on this list, but for now I'm going to focus on the vampire squid because it's one of the more classic ones that people just can't seem to believe actually exist. Unlike the colossal or the giant squid, the vampire squid is actually rather small by comparison. In fact, your forearm may actually be bigger than this squid. What's curious about this, though, is that despite being so small, it lives in some of the deepest and darkest parts of the ocean, even developing organs that can glow in the dark, and a unique circulation system, which helps it to handle the lack of oxygen at those depths. As for why it's called the vampire squid, well, if you look at the underside of its cloak, you're going to see the vampire fangs and that they are everywhere. We should all be grateful the creature isn't bigger, or else we'd all have some problems in the end. Number 14. The Piranha. What surprises me the most sometimes is that there really are small fish that like to pack a big bite, and evolution is more than willing to give them exactly what they need for whatever weird reason. Furthermore, many of these kinds of fish actually live in the Amazon, such as with the Piranha. These fish barely get to 1/3 of a meter in length, and if you look at their mouths, you're going to notice the terrifying prompt set of teeth that stick out of its lower mouth. These are meant to go for prey and kill them quickly by impairing them. What may be weird to you though, even more, is that these fish are actually sold as aquarium fish. People clearly have faith that others are not going to get bitten by these fish while also taking care of them. Or they just want their money and don't care if they get bit. The latter option sounds a whole lot more likely. Number 13.
Like, how is that dude waist deep in the water like that with that type of fishes? I often wonder about that. Like, do they have some special sort of trousers that they're wearing that if the fish kind of, you know what I mean, decide to take a bite, that it won't penetrate that? Because if they just got on some regular shorts, they crazy. You out your mind. After pulling a fish out of water with teeth this size, you crazy to be out there in just some regular shorts or trousers. No.
Pyrosomes. One could easily make the case that pyrosomes are in a league of their own when it comes to weirdness. For example, if you take a look at a pyrosome, you may think that it's one large entity, but it's not. It is instead hundreds of thousands of little entities called zooids. Depending on the size, they can either be extremely small or big enough to be noticed for a good distance. It all just depends on the colony itself. The fact that these colonies are able to work together to do various tasks is astonishing in my eyes. Just try and picture you and your friends doing a task together and trying to be efficient about it. Now trust me, you won't be as efficient as these pyrosomes. They are a wonder of the world's waters, and it's no wonder that so many people love to study them. Number 12. The Stonefish. It's actually pretty easy to talk about the stonefish because it is not only a fish, it is the deadliest fish in the entire world regarding its venom. That's right, forget about worrying about sharks or piranha. You need to worry about the stonefish. Now for context, the venom in this fish is emphatically lethal to humans, and that's not even the worst part. Unlike other fish in the sea that have venom, the stonefish is known to have a natural camouflage so that it can blend in with the ocean environment like a reef. That also means that you could be near one and not even know it. Then if you touch one of their venomous spines, you're going to be in trouble. The venom is able to cause massive amounts of pain and can even paralyze your body. So if you're diving in the water and you get stung, you could actually be frozen there as the venom continues to surge around in your body, eventually taking you off of this planet. Number 11.
Need I say any, or give you another reason not to go in the water, to stay out the water? For something that penetrate, sting you, and now you're frozen. You can't move. Your body can't move. And the crazy part about that is people will figure out that this type of fish exists if they haven't already. They'll figure out this exists. They'll catch it and then use it on people like that. Oh, I got you, and you know what I just injected in you? This type of fish's venom, and it paralyzes you. That's why you can't feel your fish. Like, we'll see that in some type of wow movie where he got this fish and using it on some type of victim. Yeah, no.
Manta Rays. Going to the more cool aspect of ocean creatures, we'll now talk about manta rays. These are the creatures that have massive wingspans and majestically move all throughout the waters. They're also known to be very kind with humans, and they don't mind swimming with them when they come across them. Just for some context, when it comes to that almighty wingspan, well, you can get ones that are almost 10 meters in length from one end to the other.
It's like one fish be nice to you and now, oh, they're friendly fish. No, they were just friendly that one time. When they get spooked or feel like you're threatening them, which you don't know what could set them off, yeah, they'll do something to you, all right? R.I.P. Steve Irwin.
Yet, despite that impressive size, they are also filter feeders, and that means that they're one of the more gentle species that you'll come across. Don't get them confused with a stingray though, as those are entirely different and much more dangerous. For Manta Rays, they are quite special, and we need to do right by them so that we don't lose them in our oceans. Number 10. The Lamprey. As we get into the top 10 of this list, it's important to note that I'm not going to go easy on you just because we're halfway done with the video. There are plenty of terrors that are still to be shown, and one of them is the Lamprey. You could easily call this one of the true monsters of the deep because it doesn't even look like a fish at all. It looks more like an underwater serpent of some sort, but it has no eyes, no jaw, and a mouth that looks like the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars, but with even more teeth. And no, Boba Fett is not lurking inside. While there are numerous types of lamprey, including ones that are filter feeders, others are more predatory in nature, and they feed by boring into the flesh of another fish, or in the rare case, marine mammals, to consume their flesh and their blood. Yes, they are truly that monstrous, and part of the reason that they can pull that off is because their mouths, which can perfectly attach themselves to a surface, and then the teeth go to work to siphon off what they need. What arguably is the most horrifying element of the lamprey is not its teeth, it's how fast they can reproduce. There are certain species of lamprey that are able to produce 100,000 eggs in one single go. And so, they are not exactly the easiest things to get rid of. And even in a lab setting, they are known to be rather large in their reproductive numbers, just as a single lamprey reproduced thousands of offspring while once in a lab. Needless to say, there is no reason why anyone would want anything to do with one of these monstrous fish. Number 9. The Lionfish. Despite its name, the lionfish does not resemble a lion in many ways, nor is it the king of the jungle, or even underwater. I'm not even sure who that would be, probably a shark though. But anyway, what the lionfish does have is one of the deadliest venoms that you're going to find in the ocean. And it can inject that venom into you in a variety of ways that's going to leave you begging for mercy, even though you're not going to find any. Yes, I'm being rather dark, but it is funnier that way. And when you look at the lionfish, you may think it's a rather beautiful creature. I mean, it has a rainbow kind of pattern on its body, which may be tempting to you to have a closer look, but you have to ignore that impulse at all costs. I'm warning you for a good reason. That coloration style is actually a warning to predators not to approach it, and that's because the other thing that might have caught your eye about the fish are the spines. Those are indeed how the lionfish gets its venom into its victims. Because they're all over its body, it means that it has the ability to strike you from basically all sides, and that makes it both an offensive and defensive weapon, and that's pretty cool while also being equally terrifying.
See, I learned a long time ago from those venomous frogs out in the Amazon, those colorful ones. I learned a long time ago. When I see colors on an animal, bright colors or just extravagant colors, and you know what I mean? That's caution for me. That equals caution. Back up. Leave it alone. Stay away from it. Because more than likely it's poisonous. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, once I learned that from them frogs, I stay away.
Oh, and as for that question that you're dreading to ask, their venom can cause systemic effects like pain, nausea, vomiting, fever, headache, numbness, paresthesia, diarrhea, sweating, temporary paralysis of the limbs, respiratory insufficiency, heart failure, convulsions, oh, and of course, death. The good news is that death will be rare. It often only happens because of allergic reactions or not getting good treatment in a good amount of time. Kids are more susceptible to the venom than adults are, of course, but either way, you don't want to get poked or poke around or be poked by this lion of a fish. Number 8. The anglerfish. Terror comes in all shapes and sizes. That's just a fact of life. And when it comes to the anglerfish, you could argue that it's one of the biggest monsters you're going to find in the depths of the ocean. Not because it eats any kind of people on the regular, or it's the biggest predator around, because it's certainly not. They're usually quite small, with the biggest among them growing to be about a meter in length. What does separate them from others is how they lure in their prey to feed on, and the terrifying elements of their biology that will freak out just about anyone. The biggest thing that makes them scary is what many people will recognize from films like Finding Nemo. Many anglerfish live in the midnight zone, which means that they have no natural light to look around with. The anglerfish makes up for that by having a protrusion that comes off the top of its head and actually glows in the dark. The fish of the midnight zone are naturally drawn to that light, and when they go to investigate and see exactly what it is, that's when they get consumed by this fish. It's mean, and it's also effective. The anglerfish is incredibly freaky when it comes to reproduction. That's because the female anglerfish are the ones that grow to a meter in length, while the males don't even get to a fraction of that. And so, when the time comes to mate, they literally fuse their bodies together. That's right, two literally become one in this case, and that is absolutely disgusting no matter how you look at it. This is the definition of terror. It's not being the biggest or the baddest creature.
But don't feel bad, fish. It's some humans that are like that. it is. To be honest, it's some humans like that see something and go, oh, what is that? And they always walking up to danger. While everybody's running away from danger, they're walking towards it like, what is that? What is that sound? What is that shot? What is that? And then wonder why something's done happened to them, bro. So don't feel bad, fish. Humans are just like y'all.
Creature around. It's the ones that you never see coming, and the more you learn about them, the more you'll wish you hadn't. Number 7. The Yeti Crab. It's actually a bit surprising that I haven't talked about crabs yet, as they are something that many people see regularly, and they come in various forms, which include the weird ones. In the case of the Yeti Crab, or the kiwa, as they are known in scientific circles, these crabs are special because they have a rather hairy look to them. When you add to that their whitish coloring, that's when you get a crab that looks like the infamous Yeti from folklore. In fact, the Yeti crab is nicknamed for its hairy pinchers, which are covered in a dense layer of hair like bristles, and these bristles are thought to harbor bacteria which the crab may farm for food. This appearance gives them that Yeti-like shaggy look. The Yeti crab lives in total darkness and is almost entirely white, lacking any kind of functional eyeballs. It's adapted to life in the extreme deep sea conditions, thriving at depths of over 7,000 feet below the surface. Since the discovery of the initial Yeti crab, other species of the family have been found, which includes those that have unique adaptations depending on their specific deep sea environment. The Yeti crab is a prime example of the incredible diversity and adaptability of life within the deep ocean, and shows how organisms can survive and even thrive in places that humans could barely ever reach. Another thing that adds to the Yeti comparison is that the crabs live in some of the coldest areas of the world, and they keep themselves warm by going to hydrothermal vents. So yes, these crabs do thrive in the most extreme of conditions. Number 6. The ocean sunfish. Now, I've shown you some big things on this list so far, but with the ocean sunfish, we're getting a brand new level of weird and wild. If you look at it from different angles, you're going to see a true glimpse at how misshapen it appears to be. It's tall and somewhat long, but not wide, and due to the size of it, it's about 1,000 kilos in weight at its maximum. As for its height, they can reach 3.3 meters sometimes, and that makes it one of the larger bony fish in the world, something that divers just love to come close to when they're down in the water. Ocean sunfish are native to the temperate and tropical waters of every ocean in the world, so that means that if you want to, you could probably get close enough to see one for yourself and know what they're really like. Number 5.
With that size, you could just tell that's a fish that just doesn't know its own strength. Like, it doesn't. When it comes to realize its size in comparison to a lot of fish in the ocean and the strength it possibly possesses, it'll be a dangerous fish once it realizes that. But right now, I feel like it just doesn't know its own strength.
The Redlipped Batfish. Now, I'm going to show you something that is weird on a much different side of the spectrum, as in one that's truly weird because of what you see when you look at it. This is the Redlipped Batfish, which is exactly how it's described. Absolutely weird. Now, those are indeed its actual lips, which I didn't even know that fish had lips, but there you go. What's particularly weird about this creature is the simple fact that it is not one that can truly swim. You heard that right, it's a fish that can't swim. Many batfish are like that apparently, so it will use its body to actually walk on the ocean floor so that it can get its prey and stay safe from any predators that may be lurking around. Though, curiously, not many things go after a red-lipped batfish. Maybe they don't like its lipstick. Number 4. The Piranha. It's actually a good thing I'm talking about piranha because there are plenty of myths and legends about these fish that need to be dispelled. For example, if you recall a set of B-grade horror movies about these fish, they do not go after humans like that, they never have, and they certainly are not going to be able to consume an entire person in seconds flat.
Without enough food.
That's just not what piranha do, and they've never done that before. In fact, one of the things that may surprise you the most about this fish is that they are technically omnivores, meaning that they're going to eat meat, plants, seeds, or just about anything else that they feel up to digesting. There are even those on the spectrum that eat nothing but meat, like the red-bellied piranha, and then the ones that prefer not to eat meat at all. Now, their bite power...
So you're just saying you just gotta hope you get one of those then, that's basically what you're saying. You're right, you hope you get one of those that be like, I don't eat meat, I'm vegetarian, I don't eat meat. What's the odds though? That's what you need to tell us. What's the odds of us running into those?
Is not exactly to be underestimated. The black piranha is said to have one of the most powerful bites in all of the vertebrate lines. That's what can make them so dangerous when they're swimming in groups and going after their prey. However, humans are not prey to piranhas. Oftentimes, an attack by a piranha on a human is because of extreme situations, such as that piranha not exactly having enough food recently or being provoked by splashing children around in the water, and there may be bait there in the water because of the fishing that's going on. Have piranha killed people in the past? Well, yes, they have, but it was again in extreme circumstances that were far from normal. If you're in the Amazon River Basin, you'd likely know that piranha are near you, and you don't have to fear them unless you make a stupid move. Number 3. The Blobfish. Have a look at this fish and tell me what you think about it. I mean, it's not a trick question of some kind. I'm honestly wondering what exactly you think because if you think about it, it may be one of the ugliest fish you've ever seen, and you wouldn't be alone in that thought.
It honestly makes me think a science experiment that went horribly wrong. I don't know what they were trying to create or fuse together or come up with what, but yeah, they failed at this attempt. That's what this makes me think.
The catch is that it is the worst version of what is known as the blobfish. It doesn't look like this at all when you find it in the water. So then what makes it happen to look like this later? The easiest answer is people. You know, humanity. You see, the blobfish in question is a deep sea fish, and I mean that in the most literal of ways. It's a fish that lives in parts of the ocean so deep that the pressure alone would be able to kill a human, not to mention machines not prepped for those depths. So then now imagine taking a creature that's used to living in that depth and then taking it up through the layers of the ocean where the pressure gets even lighter and lighter and so on. It would be like a muscle that was used to being tense 100% of the time and then being told to relax. Then when you look at the blobfish in its natural state, you're going to see that it does look like a standard fish, and when you take it out of those pressure-filled depths, that's when it changes before your very eyes. So, long story short, people are to blame for its ugliness, amongst many other things. Number 2. The Goblin Shark. As noted with the anglerfish, true terror is sometimes something that you never expect, and that is the perfect encapsulation of what the Goblin Shark is. It's one of 2 living fossils that I'll talk about as I wrap up the video, and it's easily one of the worst of the 2 in terms of the scare factor. First, it is a big shark, there's no getting around that. It's about 4 meters long at times, which makes it twice the size of a human. And secondly, it's another creature that lives in the dark depths of the ocean. while also being capable of surviving near the surface. So you could be closer to one than you may be thinking. The biggest nail in its coffin, though, is its mouth. Its mouth is straight out of the Alien franchise, as it's able to extend that mouth outside of its body in order to try and get to its prey, which is wrong on so many levels. The biggest question naturally becomes, how did it get that kind of ability? That is seriously something that no one should have, and yet it totally does. Now, we do know that it came before the xenomorphs ever existed, so did someone learn about this fish and think that they could make it even scarier? Nobody truly knows, and that may be the scariest thing of all. Number 1. The Frilled Shark. I'll end on a bit of a lighter note, mainly because I think that you've earned it after bearing with me for this long. The Frilled Shark is the second living fossil that I just mentioned, and the reason that this one is so shocking is because it honestly doesn't even look like a shark at all. In fact, many would note that it resembles more of an eel than anything else. The reason for this is simply due to its age. It's a species that's been alive for many millions of years, which includes potentially hundreds of millions of years, in fact. That's why it has more of a sleek body than others that are like it. It has fins in the wrong places, unlike other beings that call themselves a shark. It's interesting to see the shark of the past compared to the ones of today and see just how different they can be. Well, that's all from the stories that fishermen have, highlighting the many weird and unusual fish they've caught over the years. Which of these fish did you think was the most unbelievable, and how would you have...
All of them. Absolutely all of them. All of them. Telling y'all, man, there's some stuff out there and there's some stuff we ain't seen yet. So think about that before you just venture out there in that ocean, just trying to be an explorer. Y'all be safe, though.